You know that moment when someone says a single thing and it completely spoils your day? What if I told you that feeling only lasts about 90 seconds unless you keep it alive yourself? Here's the reality. Anger is a choice. From a neurological perspective, the stress chemicals responsible for anger naturally leave your body in roughly 90 seconds. But we extend the anger by replaying the incident, imagining responses, and retelling the story in our mind. It's like a smoke alarm going off because you burnt toast. Instead of opening a window, you keep putting more toast in the toaster. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic, pay attention. Your body is instantly flooded with stress hormones. That's the 90 seconds. But then the inner dialogue starts. What an idiot! And suddenly, you're still angry 20 minutes later. Once you understand this 90-second rule, you realize there's a decision point. You can allow the chemicals to flush out naturally, or you can keep fueling the fire. We all know people who stay calm no matter what happens. They aren't superhuman, they simply understand something you're about to learn. Chapter 1. The Button Pusher Myth. You're not a remote control. They really know how to push my buttons. We say this as if we're powerless, like someone else has control. But no one can press buttons you haven't installed. The button pusher myth is the belief that other people have special power over your emotions. In reality, buttons only work when they're connected to something. Those buttons are unhealed wounds or violated values from your past. When someone pushes your buttons, they're revealing exactly where healing is still needed. A coworker makes a sarcastic remark that always triggers you. Instead of reacting automatically, pause and ask, what is this really touching? Maybe it echoes a critical parent from your past. Suddenly, the coworker isn't causing the reaction, they're exposing it. When you stop functioning like a remote control, you become the operator of your emotional state. No one gets to decide how you feel except you. Think about the person who triggers you the most. What they activate in you has nothing to do with them. Chapter 2. The Secondary Emotion Revelation, What Anger is Really Hiding. Here's something surprising. What you call anger usually isn't anger at all. Anger acts like a security guard. It shows up to protect more vulnerable feelings like fear, hurt, or shame. When someone criticizes you and you feel angry, the anger is covering the pain of not feeling valued. Anger feels safer than vulnerability, so it steps in as the spokesperson. Your partner forgets your anniversary and you erupt in anger. Beneath that anger is hurt. Do I even matter to you? When you address the pain instead of attacking with anger, everything changes. Saying, I felt forgotten, creates a very different response than you never remember anything. When you identify the emotion beneath anger, you can address the real issue. Vulnerability heals. Anger creates distance. Think back to your last intense anger episode. What vulnerable emotion was hiding underneath? Chapter 3. Discovering the choice point, your superpower between trigger and response. Between every trigger and your reaction, there's a space. Inside that space is freedom. Most people don't even realize it exists. Viktor Frankl discovered this in a concentration camp. No matter what happens to you, you always retain the freedom to choose how you respond. The trigger hits, your body reacts chemically, but before you act, there's a brief moment of choice. When you learn to access that moment, you become the author of your own experience. Someone sends you a passive-aggressive message. Your instinct is to respond immediately, but in the moment before you hit send, ask yourself, what response will I respect tomorrow? That question activates your choice point. This space is your emotional superpower. It's the difference between being a pinball knocked around by circumstances and being the player controlling the game. Think of someone who never seems shaken. They've mastered the space between trigger and response. You can too. Chapter 4. The Observer Self Technique, Watching Emotions Like Weather. What if you could observe emotions the way you watch storms pass instead of being swept away by them? Inside you is an observer, a part that notices emotions without becoming them.
You can sense anger rising, heart rate increasing, but you don't merge with it. You simply observe it. This observer is calm and present. It's the voice that says, "I'm having the thought that this person is an idiot," instead of "this person is an idiot."
Your teenager rolls their eyes. Instead of reacting defensively, activate the observer. I notice irritation coming up. Now you're watching the emotion instead of being controlled by it. From this place, you can choose a response that actually helps. The observer self gives you emotional immunity. You can feel emotions without being ruled by them. Recall a moment when you stayed calm in chaos. You were already using this skill. Now you can use it intentionally. Chapter 5. The Reframe Revolution. Difficult People as Emotional Trainers. What if difficult people weren't obstacles, but trainers for your emotional strength? This shift changes how you view every challenging person. Each difficult individual in your life is highlighting exactly where growth is needed. A critical boss is training your resilience. A passive-aggressive neighbor is strengthening your boundary skills. Like physical trainers who push muscles to grow, emotional trainers build inner strength. Your micromanaging boss sends yet another email. Instead of thinking, "They don't trust me," try, "They're helping me practice staying calm under pressure." Suddenly, this isn't personal persecution, it's emotional training. You respond with curiosity instead of defensiveness. You stop being a victim and become a student. Every interaction becomes a chance to level up emotionally. Think about your most challenging relationship. What strength is that person helping you develop? Chapter 6. The Boundary Blueprint. Protecting your peace without building walls. Boundaries aren't walls meant to shut people out. They're gates, and you decide what passes through. Healthy boundaries are like skin. They allow good things in and keep harm out. You simply need clarity about what you will and won't accept. I understand you're upset, but I don't respond well to yelling. Can we talk when things are calmer? That's not aggression, it's assertiveness. A friend constantly complains but refuses solutions. Instead of growing resentful, set a boundary. I care about you, but I can only listen for 5 minutes unless you want to brainstorm solutions. You're protecting your emotional energy while remaining supportive. Boundaries preserve your ability to help without burning out. You can't pour from an empty cup. Identify someone who drains your energy. What boundary would protect your peace with them? Chapter 7. The Timeout Protocol. Strategic Retreat versus Avoidance. There's a difference between stepping back wisely and running away. Sometimes the strongest move is temporarily removing yourself from a triggering situation. This isn't weakness, it's intelligence. You're allowing your nervous system to reset and your rational brain to come back online. I need to take a break from this conversation. Let's continue when I can respond thoughtfully instead of reactively. You're not abandoning the issue, you're approaching it skillfully. Your partner raises a sensitive topic while you're already stressed. Instead of snapping, say, "This matters to me, but I'm not in the right headspace right now. Can we talk later?" You honor both the topic and your emotional capacity. Timeouts prevent damage that can take weeks to repair. 5 minutes of space can save hours of repair conversations. We've all said things we regretted in heated moments. Timeouts prevent that. Mature people ask for space instead of taking it destructively. Recall the conversation that went badly because you were overwhelmed. A timeout could have changed everything. Chapter 8. The Trigger Map Method. Knowing your emotional landmines. You wouldn't walk through a minefield blindfolded. So why navigate relationships without understanding your triggers? Triggers aren't random. They follow patterns. People who resemble a critical parent, situations that echo rejection, words that reopen old wounds. When you map these patterns, reactions stop surprising you. This tone reminds me of my former boss who never trusted me. Awareness gives you power. When you see the landmine, you can step around it instead of detonating it. Keep a simple trigger journal for 1 week. Note who was involved, what they said or did, and what it reminded you of. Patterns will emerge. When you understand your triggers, preparation replaces reaction.
You become proactive instead of reactive. Everyone has emotional triggers. Emotional intelligence is recognizing and managing them. Notice what consistently triggers you. That pattern is your map to freedom. Chapter 9. Compassionate distance. Caring without carrying. You can care about someone without carrying their emotions. You can love without absorbing their chaos. Compassionate distance means keeping emotional boundaries while staying open-hearted. You can witness someone's pain without taking it on. I see you're struggling and I care. How can I support you without absorbing your stress? Like a lifeguard, you offer a flotation device without jumping in and drowning. A friend going through a divorce vents daily. Instead of absorbing everything, suggest structured support. You're helping without being consumed. Burned-out helpers help no one. Caring without carrying allows long-term support. Chapter 10. The Story Stopper. Breaking free from mental narratives. You don't experience reality itself. You experience the story you tell about it. Change the story, and your emotional experience changes. Each trigger creates a narrative. They don't respect me, or they're controlling me. These are interpretations, not facts. What if their sharp tone means stress, not disrespect? The story determines the emotion. Same situation, different interpretation, completely different outcome. When you become aware of your stories, you stop being controlled by them and become the creator of your experience. Think about a recent situation that upset you. What story did you tell yourself? What alternative story could you choose? Knowledge without practice is just entertainment. Transformation comes from repetition. Choose one technique and practice it for a week. Remember the 90-second rule. Find your choice point. Each new response rewires your brain. Small, consistent actions create massive change. People who never seem bothered weren't born that way. They trained these skills until they became automatic. You can do the same. Everyone admires emotional mastery. Now you have the roadmap. Imagine who you'll become when difficult people no longer control your peace. That version of you is already waiting.